Episode 2. The Birth of the First Poem. How the Ramayana Began. Having listened to the words of Narad, the eloquent and virtuous sage, and his students paid him profound respect. Once the sage had properly honoured the divine seer Narad, the latter requested permission to depart and ascended into the heavens. After Narad left for the celestial realm, the sage eventually journeyed to the banks of the Tamasā River, which is located near the Jahnavi, the Ganga. Reaching the side of the Tamasā, the eminent sage observed a clear bathing area and addressed the student accompanying him.
Observe this beautiful and clear bathing spot, Bharadwaj, with waters as transparent as the consciousness of a virtuous person. Place the water pitcher down, my son, and hand me my garment of bark, as I intend to bathe in these fine waters of the Tamasā.
Spoken to in this manner by the noble Vālmīki, the devoted Bharadwaj provided the bark garment to his teacher. Accepting the cloth from his student, the self-controlled sage walked through the expansive woods, observing his surroundings. In that vicinity, the saintly man noticed a pair of melodic crotched birds roaming together. While he looked on, a malicious nishad hunter, driven by ill intent, killed the male of the pair. Watching the bird fall and struggle on the earth, soaked in blood, its female companion let out a mournful wail. Witnessing the bird slain by the nishad in such a way, the virtuous seer was overcome with compassion. Moved by this profound sympathy, the Brahman reflected that such an act was contrary to righteousness. Hearing the lament of the female crotch, he spoke these words.
O Nishad, because you slew one of this pair while they were lost in love, you shall not endure for many years.
Even as he spoke and observed the scene, he wondered in his heart what he had just proclaimed out of sorrow for the bird. After pondering the matter, the wise and contemplative man reached a definitive understanding. The preeminent sage then told his student,
This utterance, born from my shoka or grief, consisting of 4 quarters with equal syllables and suitable for musical accompaniment, shall be known as Shloka or poetry alone.
His joyful student committed that peerless verse to memory as the sage spoke it, earning the pleasure of his teacher. Following his prescribed ritual bath at that spot, the sage returned to his ashram while still reflecting on the event. The scholarly and dutiful Bharadwaj carried his teacher's full water vessel and followed him. The sage, well versed in Dharma, entered the ashram with his student and sat down, discussing other topics while remaining deep in thought. Subsequently, the powerful 4-faced Brahmā, creator of the universe, arrived to visit the chief of sages. Upon seeing him, Valmiki stood up immediately and in silence. He remained there, humble and filled with awe, with his palms joined in respect. He then honoured the deity by providing water for his feet, the traditional offerings for a guest, a seat, and prayers. Having performed the required prostrations, he inquired about the deity's welfare. Once the Divine Lord was comfortably seated, he gestured for the great seer Vālmīki to take a seat as well. Though the grandfather of all worlds sat before him, Vālmīki's mind returned to the previous event, and he fell back into deep contemplation.
That cruel person, driven by a wicked mind, committed a heinous act by killing that melodic crotched bird without cause.
Mourning again for the female bird, and consumed by his sorrow, he recited the verse once more in the presence of the god. With a smile, Brahmā addressed the foremost sage.
You have composed a shloka, and you should not be troubled by it. O Brahman, it was through my intent that you uttered this refined speech. Now, O best of seers, you must write the complete history of Ram. Recount to the world the life of the noble, virtuous, and resolute Ram exactly as you learned it from Narad, including all aspects of that wise man's life. Everything concerning the wise Ram, Saumitri, the Rakshasas, and Vaidehi, whether known or hidden, shall be made clear to you, even those things you do not yet know. In this epic, no word you speak shall be untrue. Now write the sacred tale of Ram in the form of shlokas that will bring joy to the heart. For as long as the peaks and streams remain upon the earth, the narrative of the Ramayana shall persist among humanity. And for the duration that your account of Ram is recited, you shall reside in my realms both above and below.
After Lord Brahmā had spoken these words, he disappeared instantly, leaving Vālmīki and his students in a state of amazement. All the disciples then began to chant that Shloka once more. Filled with joy and wonder, they repeatedly exclaimed that the Shoka or grief expressed by the great seer in 4 equal quarters had, through its repetition, become Shloka or poetry. The meditative Valmiki then resolved to compose the entire epic known as the Ramayana, using such verses. With profound vision, the famous sage authored this poem to enhance the fame of the illustrious Ram, using hundreds of shlokas with equal syllables and noble words that gladden the heart.